everybody, what's up? This is Danielle, the Wicked Awesome Gardener, coming at you from the Wicked Awesome Grow Room. Today in Massachusetts, we have snow. Four-letter word, don't like it, don't want it, I'm ready for spring. Really, once snow comes down for Christmas and it looks all pretty, and then January hits and it's just, bleh. Snow is just a bucket of suck. I'm all done. So even though it's snowing outside, it really put me to thinking about spring. Also, my Gurney's catalog arrived. That did not help. I think I have all the seeds that I need for the year, but then I look at the catalogs and I think about other things I need. Anyway, tonight is a video that I know some of you have really been looking forward to, and so have I, because it's the beginning of February. That means it's time to plant the tomatoes. And despite what I say about the Gurney's catalog, I think I have enough tomato seeds. So I'm going to start out with my first 6 varieties, and they are fairly standard. I plan on making a lot of sauce this year and freezing it. I may even venture into canning. A friend of mine is really into it, and I know that she will give me all the advice in the world on safe, dependable canning recipes and where to get good, fairly inexpensive supplies. Because I plan on making so much sauce, I need some really good paste tomatoes to make that really nice base. So I need some tomatoes with a lot of meat, a lot of flesh, and not so many seeds. So I've gone with a classic San Marzano and a Roma tomato. I also like a nice slicing tomato, so I've gone with a classic beefsteak. These did not do well for me last year, but that's because I got hit by a freak snowstorm in May, the week after I put my tomatoes outside, and they never really recovered from that frost damage. So I just had little beefsteaks and they weren't great. This year I am going to be a lot more conservative. I may be starting these inside very early, but I have space for them to remain here and really grow. I also plan on getting some cuttings to make clone plants. So I don't have to worry about them going outside too early. These are for my plant sale as well as my own personal use, so we'll have plenty. And because I can't wait for those delicious, delicious tomatoes to start ripening up, I also have an early girl. This is an indeterminate variety. It comes in both a determinate bush variety, which means that they grow, they set all the flowers and make all the fruit, and then they just die back. They have a genetically sort of predetermined yield for a determinate plant. If it's an indeterminate, it will just keep growing and vining all growing season long until the frost eventually kills it. So an early girl indeterminate variety will give me tomatoes early and keep on producing. See, these are pink brandywine seeds that grew from the tomatoes that I didn't plant outside until June. These were actually a plant that my neighbor gave me. He didn't have room for them all, so he's like, here, have these seedlings. And I'm like, great, seedlings that are not frost damaged. And they grew in a very large pot. I had 4 of them in a 10-gallon pot, and they just grew like mad. These seeds come from a very, very large pink brandywine that I just let remain on the vine until it was practically falling off. So I think we're going to get something really great out of those. This is the fun one. This is called Mortgage Lifter. I'm a real estate agent. I think this is funny as heck. But not only is it just kind of amusing, real estate agent, mortgage lifter. This tomato grows like this big. It is a 2+ pound variety, and I am really excited. I'm going to have to get a produce scale just to see how big I can grow one of these tomatoes. So that's what I'm going to grow tonight. There is a whole other list of tomatoes that will go in a second video because I think this one is just going to be too long. So let's get to it and we'll plant up some of these. So as usual, I've prepared this tray with a Jiffy organic seed starting mix. I pre-moistened it by putting water into the bottom of the tray and letting it sit for a couple of days just to soak that all up. But I am going to give it a quick spray, very, very quick, with my handy dandy spray bottle, just so there is some moisture on contact with the seeds that we're putting in. I found these really nice tags that will stay with the plants, and they will also go out into the garden with the ones that I choose to put in the garden versus the ones that go to the plant sale. All right, so we're going to start off with the San Marzano. So some of these are going into my garden, my own garden, but I am also planting plenty of extras for my plant sale. So when I plant tomatoes, I put one seed in each corner. This way they each have a little bit of room, but also I can maximize my seed starting space. Two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8. Well, I think this time, because I am planting for a seed sale, these are going to be potted up as soon as they get their second set of true leaves. I'm going to squish a little bit, and I'm going to get 5 in each of these cells. This is just my first planting of tomatoes. I'm going to do a second planting as soon as I transplant these out to pots. So then we've got the Roma. These Roma tomatoes are the only determinate variety that I am growing this year. And because they aren't going to just keep producing all year, I'm going to be putting 1 extra of these in my garden this year. So while I'll only have 1 or 2 of other varieties, I'm probably going to plant 3 to 4 of these. Lots and lots of sauce. That's what I'm after. And oh my goodness, I almost committed my cardinal sin. I have not been labeling the plants. This has caused major problems for me in the past by having some mystery squash. So there we are, San Marzano, Roma. That was the beef steak. Next, I'm going to put in the Early Girl. And the Early Girl that I got is going to look a little bit different. You can see larger, it's coated, it's pelleted seed, and this just kind of helps boost the germination rates a little bit. Let's see, here. There we go. So maybe you can see that a little better, how I'm planting these in this sort of 5-sided dice pattern. Next, we're going to put in these pink Brandywine. These are so delicious, let me tell you. The only thing I'm not a fan of is that they are very prone to cracking. So that can get a little on the annoying side, but that's what happens with some of these large slicers. There we go. Look at that. That is some nice looking seed. I am so excited. This is my first time saving seeds. All my peppers this year are coming from my own seed from last year's peppers, the jalapenos and California Wonder bell peppers. So let's see how this pink brandywine germinates, because I did a germination test on the peppers and on the eggplant seed that I saved, but I did not do a germination test on the brandywine. And then, last but not least, the mortgage lifter. I am so excited for these guys, I'm telling you. You may see a little bit of a real estate joke video coming up with these. Just the thought of the tie-in amuses me. But also, I am really excited to just grow some sort of giant tomato. It was one thing I really wanted to grow this year. Since I had the room to do all of these tomatoes, I wanted to grow some of my old favorites, and then I wanted to grow some fun things. The next video is going to be fun. You're going to see some funky things that you may not have realized were out there. Then I am going to top these off with some more soil. Going through my bag here of Miracle Grow, which typically I stay away from, but it's kind of all the stores had at the moment, and I ran out of my Jiffy seed starting mix. So I'm just going to give them just enough to cover the seeds. Don't want to have clumps, so I'm just really making sure to break those up. Because this is a potting soil and not a seed starting mix, it's not quite as fine as I would like, but it will work just as well. So we'll just gently kind of tap that down. Take that little stick out. That kind of organic material with little sticks and things is fine for larger plants, but you want to pull that out for seeds. So this is pretty much just how I planted my peppers and my eggplant. And as usual, the handy dandy spray bottle, just to get this top of the soil nice and moist. So if we just poured it straight from the watering can, it would just all kind of bubble up, and then the soil would just sit on top and not even soak in the water. I don't actually have heat mats. A lot of people use them. I find that this room stays nice and warm. I'm so happy to have this heated sun porch where I can just grow all of my seedlings. Love having almost like a greenhouse without even having to leave my apartment. It's just right off my kitchen. So I will spray these every couple of days just to keep them moist until the tomatoes start to germinate. They will also be under this dome, which will help keep the moisture in, keep it warm. And there you go. I am so excited to have my tomatoes in the dirt right now. I just cannot wait for that first taste of a nice, juicy, homegrown tomato. There's nothing better. All right, guys, if you want to follow along, if you want to see how soon that early girl gets tomatoes on my plate, how much sauce am I going to make with those Romas and those San Marzanos? Am I going to add an Amish paste? Because I might. How big will those mortgage lifters get? If you want to follow along, you want to know the answers to those questions, make sure you like and subscribe, leave a comment, hit the little bell down there to get notifications when we put up new content. I can't wait to take you along for this ride and see what we're going to have. As always, thanks for watching while I grow something awesome.